2, 3, 4.
Buenos dias and good morning, my brothers and sisters. This is our 9th episode of the Good Morning Guys podcast, where it is a good thing we don't speak German, or it would be quite the negative conversation. You guys get it? Negative? 9? That's right. Jokes will be coming all night, buddy. Thanks for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, gracious, afternoon, evening, or night.
It's a good afternoon.
Yes. I know, right? It's like a big truck on fire.
Irish,
yep, pretty much. As we continue discussing the game of life, amidst the other games we love to watch and play, guys, I am one of your hosts, the Nintendo Classic Gaming, Carpet Coloring, and Destroying, Glorified Babysitting Dude, Lucas Hamswisher. Also with me, the 24-hour Extra Life streaming, snake venom sucking, off-brand Pop-Tart buying son of a gun, Patrick Novosel.
Now look here, I'm not the one that buys the Pop-Tarts.
And next to him, the Robo-Vacuum stocking, Andrew Luck Book Club Bing, SpongeBob SquarePants but not Superman, watching and dancing fool Ronnie Johantis.
Patrick, that was your perfect opportunity to give like a Western hello.
And then last, but certainly not least, the youth group terrorizing, lapdog cuddling, parent signature forging, East Coast brother from another mother, Marc Boucher.
Hello, and listen, if you're having trouble breathing trying to say our nicknames, that's a problem.
I have no comment for that. I'm breathing now.
Okay.
If this is your first time,
no information.
If this is your first time joining us, people, I'm sorry. Welcome. But if it's not, then welcome back. This is something you might be used to. Today we are celebrating life, movies, and good old-fashioned daylight saving time for me, and a lack of daylight savings time for you, or at least some of you. How about that?
Yeah, it sucks. Leaving work when
Only
it's totally dark out. It's like
only three hours difference between us.
Well,
and you guys get darkness at like 5 o'clock, right?
Lucas is a time traveler, man. He's already in the future.
I am. It's 11 o'clock and the sun's still not down. We can't get it to go down here in Brazil. It's always shining.
What?
Just kidding. No, that's not how it works. It's not true.
I'm not good at geography.
All right. Before we get neck deep in the craziness and the news and all that good jazz, let's start with a little bit of housekeeping as usual. I want to make a quick shout out to Mexico, which, as you know, speaks Mexican. I mean Spanish. Just kidding. Love you, Bernabe Mares.
And goodbye to all our Mexico fans.
There they go. But yeah, that's, wanted to shout out to our Mexican fans. My wife actually lived in Mexico for all of her high school years, so it was a good time. She loved it.
Awesome.
And they also have great food.
Yeah, they do.
I love me some food. Some food. Yep, love me some food. Love me some Mexican food. Anywho, this is an international podcast, if you didn't know it. We're representing the U.S. and Brazil every single week. The other sort of housekeeping that I wanted to cover, did you guys know we got a second review on iTunes? We no longer have just one. We have 2 reviews.
We've doubled our reviews.
Look out. Boom shakalaka.
Was
Are you
it
guys
1 star?
ready? Are you ready to hear it?
Okay, yeah.
Let's do it.
It's from our Discord and Twitch buddy, Tim Paullin.
Ooh, Tim Paullin.
Tim Paullin.
This is what he had to say. He said, "Great show, better people."
Ooh.
5 stars.
Awesome.
I love you, Tim.
And then he said, "Give these guys a listen. Positive discussion about life, movies, and games."
Man,
We
this
love you,
guy.
Tim.
Yeah.
Much love.
That is sweet.
Isn't that sweet? I love that. Tim, you're the best. And at that Art of Bacon, he also gave a review. I can't remember if we pointed that out, but he just talked about me, so it's not a big deal. But he still gave us 5 stars. So we love you too.
That's
Mr.
10
Bacon.
stars if you put 5 and 5 together.
That's right. We're a 10-star podcast. You know why we're a 10-star podcast? Because we give the people the opportunities to keep connected with us. So if you ever want to ask a question on the show, if you want to keep connected with us daily, you can find us on Twitter at the GMG Podcast. I'm getting it out of the way right at the beginning. just in case you decide that we're too weird to continue listening to. So you're going to have the connection on Twitter. If you want to connect with us on a more personal level and hang out with some other cool people in our little community, you can join us on the Discord where we might not have cookies, but we have a plethora of dad jokes always at hand.
A plethora?
On hand. A plethora. So that's all with the housekeeping. We're finished with that. Let's get on into what's new in the news and our lives. And I think we should start with Patrick. Why don't you tell us something good?
Well, this past week I didn't do anything. I can't remember if I did anything.
Lies.
Fake
Lies.
news.
No, so I'll get a couple things out of the way first before I get into the meat of what happened this past week. So since our last podcast, Halloween came around town, and so we walked around town and get some candy with the kids. My son dressed up as Thor. My daughter was Cleopatra.
Nice.
Now it was
Awesome.
the weather forecast was supposed to be rainy all day, and it was supposed to storm. We weren't expected to go out trick or treating, but luckily it wasn't raining when we started trick or treating, which was nice. But as we got further into it, about a half hour, 45 minutes, it started to mist, and then the mist turned to rain. So we went out trick or treating for about 45 minutes, and then we headed on back in. So we got. I mean, the neighborhood that we were in, there were houses like right next to each other. So, and almost every single house was giving out candy. So my kids got like, I don't know, 6 pounds of candy that night.
Nice. Now, was this good quality candy, or was this just like candy corn or something weird like that?
No, my son hates candy corn. No way.
Oh, okay, good.
I'm
No.
so not happy with either of you right now.
So speaking of candy corn, so my son, they made a popcorn for Halloween. They have popcorn and candy corn in the same bag, and he would not eat the popcorn because there were candy corn in it.
Good man.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I was just going to say, apparently, good taste in food like Pop-Tarts and candy corn skips generations.
Oh, I don't like candy corn either.
No, but I was referring more to the Pop-Tarts.
Ooh.
You little off-brand eating Pop-Tarts stinker
It was
pants.
last week. It was supposed to be a safe space, and you guys did not make it a safe space.
My bad. Mulligan. You can edit it out, man. Just edit it out. It'll be fine.
I'm gonna go back and edit that and re-upload it so people don't know when they go back and listen. Be like, oh, this is a good podcast until episode 8.
Nice.
So we did that, and then over the weekend I took my son to Home Depot, and every couple weeks, once or twice a month, they have this event where they have a bunch of kids come in and they can make something. Sometimes they make cars. Sometimes you can make birdhouses. This weekend we actually made a helicopter, and you don't just it's not like you just stick stuff together. I mean, you use hammers. There's nails. There's screws. There's screwdrivers. So we made a helicopter, and that was actually pretty fun. My son was
cool.
It was the first time that he made it, because I've taken my daughter to these before. It was the first time that I took my son to one. So he really enjoyed it, and he's been playing with that helicopter. He has to sleep with that helicopter. He takes it with wherever he goes. He wants to take it into church with us. He wants to take it everywhere. So that's pretty cool that that Home Depot does stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
And then that's pretty much the what happened this past week. Other than I played a little Extra Life.
Yeah, you did.
Yes. So for 24 straight hours, I played video games for the kids.
Suffering for Jesus.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I played Red Dead Redemption 2, played some Call of Duty Blackout, played Overwatch, played Spider-Man, the new DLC. It was actually pretty fun. For the first 5 hours, I played Red Dead Redemption 2. Then I moved over to Spider-Man, and then about 5 o'clock, after about 9 hours of me playing, got into by myself. I started playing some multiplayer games. So that's when I went over to Blackout and Overwatch, and I played multiplayer games from, I guess, 5 p.m. all the way till 8 a.m. And without those multiplayer games, I don't think I would have been able to stay up, because it was tough staying up all through the night. But then,
did you drink a lot of coffee?
I had 2 cups of coffee. I had a cup of coffee in the morning, and then I had a cup of coffee in the middle of the night. So I only had 2 cups of coffee, but I also had an energy drink.
Nice.
So I had some caffeine to keep me awake, and then, but yeah, that was awesome. I was so tired. I was so worn down after that. I didn't think I was going to make it, but then Lucas, you showed up at 5 a.m.
That's
we
right.
We played some Broforce.
Broforce.
Now that game, that was the first time I booted that game up, and that game is crazy.
It is super crazy.
That 2D side scroller, man, that was so much fun. I appreciate
super
you.
Fun, but not as fun as you. You were so
slap happy.
You were so wasted. You were lack of sleep,
done,
tired, and wasted. Man, it was so funny.
Yeah. So my donation goal from the start was $100, and I actually got the $100 before I even started the stream. So that was awesome. So I reached out to Eric Thompson. I'm like, hey, should I up this? Should I up this to what should I up it to? And he's like, raise it to 250. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna raise it to 200 and see, and we'll go from there. And then throughout the stream, I got 200, and I raised all the way up to $265 overall for those 24 hours. So it was pretty awesome that I was able to raise that much money. I was not expecting to raise that much money. I got a whole bunch of different donations from different people, so that was awesome. So I met my goal, my individual goal, and part of the Married to the Games team I'm a part of. Our goal as a team is 7,500, and as of this morning, I checked, we were at about 6,900, maybe a little bit over 6,900, which puts us into like the 125 overall team out of like, I don't know, 8,000 teams or something like that. I don't know how many. Yeah, so that's awesome. So we're close to getting that $7,500 goal. So that's really cool.
Cool, man.
Speaking of Extra Life,
did you have? Sorry if I interrupted your segue.
Yeah.
But you had a drawing or a prize giveaway, didn't you?
I did, and we're gonna do that right now.
What?
Yeah. Time for some prizes.
So I got several donations, and some of the people did not want to be in the drawing for one reason or another, and I respect that. So we have I'm gonna tell you the names that are in the drawing. So I got super listener Chad Fackler,
Chad.
Hey, Chad.
Eric Estep, Stupidly Epic. He donated, but he withdrew his name.
Eric, just kidding. It's Darren. I love you, Darren.
Craig Tornquist.
Okay.
Nice.
Pat Shibby, that's my mother-in-law. She had withdrawn her name.
She didn't want to get a video game?
No, I would give it to her and she'd be like, hey, do you want this?
What do I do with this?
Put this in the
It's a
DVD player.
frisbee. Give it a toss.
Marc Boucher donated, my brother.
I think that's conflict of interest.
Is it? Is
I'm
it
just
really
saying.
when it's not going to him?
I hope you win.
No, they're in different states. It doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
Fair
legal. And then a Ronnie Johannes.
That's a
Oh,
conflict of interest.
enough. Yeah, definitely.
So, of those, you have a pretty good chance of winning one of these 4 games. I got Grand Theft Auto 5, Horizon Zero Dawn, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and Destiny 2. All of them are on Xbox One except for Horizon Zero Dawn, and that's PS4 exclusive.
Yeah, it is.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a game, and then I'm going to draw a name. The first game I'm going to give away is Grand Theft Auto 5. And that one is going to go to Ronnie Johannes.
Woo! Ronnie! Bear, 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 bear.
Congratulations, Ronnie. I will give that to you sometime.
All right, I will. When I watch,
as soon as you watch
Superman,
Superman,
we'll slip right in. Just a little trade.
All right. The next one is going to be Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn winner is
Lucas Hamswisher. Woo!
Marc.
what?
Hey!
Oh my goodness!
Mark,
How many people were in this?
Mark,
Like 5?
have you played that game?
I started it.
Yeah,
I
there's 5.
have not. I don't own the game. I actually rented it from Redbox, and I have not finished it.
Awesome.
Nice. That is
Cool.
a great present.
Thank
All right.
you, Patrick.
Yay. Thank you for donating, brother.
No problem.
All for the kids. All right, the next one is Star Wars Battlefront 2. And Star Wars Battlefront 2 is going to go to Craig Tornquist.
Nice. Jedi Gamer
Yeah.
CT.
Congratulations, Craig. I'll reach out to you. And then the last one is Destiny 2.
Destiny 2.
Destiny 2.
And Destiny 2 goes to Eric Estep.
Nice.
Woo, Eric!
Good job, Eric.
There
Patrick.
we go.
You're the best.
Is that the last game?
That is it? That's it?
I would like you to then raffle off my game as well.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
There's a chance I'll never get to it with this new game that I bought anyways. How many people you got left in the hat?
I only got Chad Fackler. Chad Fackler is the only one that didn't get it.
Chad Fackler just got GTA 5.
Nice.
Super listener Chad just got Grand Theft Auto 5.
Which, like, major
There
shout
he
out.
is.
Major shout out to Chad. Because
For
he's
sure.
like
Super listener.
the best dude ever.
He really is. We love you, Chad.
Yeah, Chad. You're awesome.
We love you.
So, okay, cool. I'll reach out to everyone who has won and get your address, and I'll ship it on to you. Thank you for donating. That's awesome. Speaking of donating, so I ran the numbers of the Extra Life of how much donations they've received over the years, because this is the 10th year that they've been doing Extra Life. In 2008, they raised $302,000.
Whoa.
In 2017, they raised $11.1 million.
I get grew a little bit.
They've increased every single year, and this year, up through Saturday's game day, raised $8.8 million. They raised $2.3 million on that game day alone, which is unbelievable how much people's hearts go out to these kids.
For sure.
And people are still going to be doing play days throughout until the end of the year.
Yep. Goes to December 31st.
It does, yeah. So some other people within the community, part of the team, they still have their days left. I know that Jeff Swan is going to be doing it. Gabe Patillo is still doing it. And I know there are some others, but those are the two that come off the top of my head. But yeah, it goes through the end of the year. Donations can also come through to the end of the year. So that's awesome. So I'm sure we're going to shatter the 11.1 million from last year.
If I may interject there, I have a small announcement to make regarding Extra Life. So I talked about, and I won't go into too much of it because it'll go into my week, but so I'm gonna do a sort of shortened version of Extra Life. I won't be doing a 24-hour stream, but I'll be doing an 8-hour stream, and that is on Saturday, November 24th, starting at
Nice.
8 a.m. Eastern.
Okay,
Eastern
from 8 to 8
Standard Time.
on Saturday, November 12th?
Yeah.
So the Saturday
November 24th.
after-
November 24th. I was not listening.
You were way off. That's the Saturday
Sorry,
About
after.
12 days off, you know.
That's the Saturday after Thanksgiving, right?
That is correct. That is the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Cool. I'm going to write that down.
Do
You
it!
definitely need to, Dementia Man, since you totally misheard what I said earlier.
That's why I'm writing it down.
That sounds like the worst superhero name ever. Dementia Man!
Where
Sounds
am
like
I?
Whose lines it anyway?
And who
How
am I
did you
saying?
get here, Dementia Man?
Oh, man. Cool.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
Mark, do you just want to roll into your week, your news, video games, or Patrick, did you have anything else?
No, I'm good. Yeah, Mark, you can go ahead.
Cool.
Yes.
I might as well.
Right.
All right. So, yeah, like Pat was saying, he was playing some Black Ops 4 for his Extra Life stream, and I got to play with him for some of that. And so that was an awesome experience. And then I played some No Work Friday with Ed on Friday. I had the day off on Friday, so that was nice. So I got to play some with him. And then Saturday, we ended up going to my nephew's football game. My nephew's in the playoffs for his league, and he
What's his name?
My nephew's name is Jaden.
Jaden, we wish you the best of luck in your playoffs.
Yeah.
Do well.
And
beat him down.
Exactly.
But don't literally beat him down because that's cheating.
Well, they do beat him down a little bit. It is football.
Yeah, okay. That's
But yeah, they ended up winning that game on Saturday. So they have another playoff game this coming Saturday. And from there, I'm not sure if they go straight to the final game or I don't know how that works. But yeah, so they do have another playoff game this weekend, which was awesome. And then I ended up taking part in the MTTG community, Married to the Games community stream for Extra Life on game day. And so I streamed for a couple of hours and played some Mega Man 11, which, just as I predicted, I sucked hard at. Because it took...
Dude, that game is so hard. Did you at least beat a boss?
I actually beat 3. I beat 3 bosses.
Oh, nice.
But it took me 50 minutes to beat the first boss, to go through the level and beat the first boss, because I got stuck really bad on a certain part where you had to go really fast through a certain portion of the level, and I just kept dying over and over and over and over again. And there's actually new mechanics to Mega Man 11. They have I think it's called the double gear or something like that, where you can either speed up or slow down time pretty much.
Right. Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, and so I was trying to learn how to do that and where to do it at the right times, and I was having a bit of trouble with that. But once I got past that point, I was just breezing right through, and I actually, I beat 3 bosses, and then I switched to Black Ops 4 myself, and played with Patrick.
Yeah.
So we played for a little while. Patrick, I think it was just you and I that time, right? Eric wasn't there, right?
Right. It was just us.
Okay. So yeah, that was fun, but the downside was, unfortunately I did not meet my donation goal, so that is why I am doing another stream to see if I can continue on and try to reach the donation goal for the kids.
That's great, man. If you don't succeed, try again. So
right.
I have good feelings about this next one. You're gonna do it.
I'm gonna try to
be good.
I'm gonna try to push this one as much as possible. So yeah, that was awesome. And then I think Saturday night we went out with my parents, my in-laws, to not for Mexican, but we went to another place. It's called Burgers, which is kind of like a German sort of beer hall style restaurant.
Man, I was so gonna guess it was German. Do
Yep.
they have a good Wiener Schnitzel? I love me some Wiener Schnitzel.
I don't know if they actually have any Wiener Schnitzel, but I've had Wiener Schnitzel. But no, I don't think this place. I think it's just mainly burgers and stuff. It's like the atmosphere of the actual building is like German beer hall style, but honestly, their specialty is burgers. So that was awesome, and then we went back to my in-laws' house, and I actually bought the 2 expansion packs for Exploding Kittens.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is the expansion pack called Vomiting Cats?
Oh, I knew it was coming.
Come on. It's gotta be called that.
No, it is
Come
not.
on.
It is
Come
not.
on. Tell me.
Although I may submit that to the Oatmeal, which is the name of the company that makes that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
sounds magical.
Yeah, it is. So no, the 2 expansion packs are called Imploding Kittens and Streaking Kittens. Yeah.
Who makes up these names?
Silly people.
I mean, I get the exploding and imploding. That's cool, but streaking? Do kittens even have enough of awareness to be hey, let's go streaking? How do they even streak? Do they rip their fur off? How does that work?
Technically, if they're not wearing a collar, aren't they streaking all the time?
Yeah, exactly.
These
That's what
kittens
I
have
thought.
clothes, and they're taking their clothes off in the
Oh,
pictures.
I can't handle that. That's no. Animals with clothes is just too much. I mean,
So you don't
Zootopia
like
almost
Winnie
killed
the
me.
Pooh or Donald Duck or
Stop. Quit talking
Donald,
clothes.
does Donald Duck have clothes? No,
He
doesn't.
barely
Yes, he
has
does.
clothes. He wears
he
a
has
shirt. He doesn't
he
even
has
have
a shirt
underwear
and a hat.
He doesn't wear
Okay.
pants though.
on.
He's a
Exactly.
streaker.
It's
Yeah,
still
he's a
clothes though.
partial streaker.
And Mickey has pants and
he's a bottomless
shoes and
streaker.
gloves. Come on, y'all.
That's different though. That's Disney. They're allowed to do that stuff.
It's not though. It's not different at all. But anyway, so yeah, we played the expansion pack to that, and fun was had by all. We very much enjoyed that. And then Sunday we had the normal church routine, and actually took the youth group to do. There's a organization, I'm sure you guys, many of you listeners out there may have heard of this. It's an organization called Operation Christmas Child. It's put on by Samaritan's Purse. And so Operation Christmas Child basically, churches and places like that around the country, they basically have people get these shoe boxes that are provided by the organization, and you basically go and buy small gifts and school supplies and toiletries, that kind of stuff, and you put them in the shoebox, and they go to kids in places around the world who don't necessarily get Christmas gifts, who are in need. And so we took my
Yeah,
youth
it's
group
definitely
to
a great little organization.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's put on. Obviously, Samaritan's Purse is run by Mr. Franklin Graham, who is Billy Graham's son. So we made a box for a boy and a girl. So they had a lot of fun doing that, and I'm excited because they actually have this thing now where you can actually track where your box goes. So that'll be interesting to see, what kind of a trip it goes on. But they had a lot of fun with that. And yeah, on the gaming front, it was mainly just the stuff I did with Extra Life, and with like Black Ops and Mega Man 11. And then also the other night I played some more Black Ops 4 with Mr. Patrick, who was streaming with Eric.
Oh, dude, I love that game. That game is so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Oh, speaking of Black Ops 4, on Tuesday night, Eric and I got our first chicken dinner, or none left standing.
You got your loneliness award.
We did.
By myself.
Yeah, felt pretty good finally to get that elusive win.
Nice.
Congrats.
But yeah, that was awesome. Transitioning into some video game news. So the old Nintendo had their final Smash Brothers Direct presentation. For those who might not know, the video game Super Smash Brothers Ultimate is coming out next month. I believe it's December 7th for the Nintendo Switch. And so this was their final sort of presentation to give some little surprises away. And so just a quick summary of that. They announced that there are 2 new fighters that will be in the main roster when the game comes out. That'll be Ken from Street Fighter.
Hadouken!
Yeah. And it's a Pokemon. Pokemon's name is Incineroar. He's a
You
newer
better
Pokemon.
breathe fire.
He does. He absolutely does.
Oh, no way he does. No.
He better roar. Now, my question is, does this Pokemon speak by saying his name over and over and over and over again, just like the rest of them?
I mean, this is Pokemon. Of course he does.
Yeah.
But
Just making sure. I wanted to make sure it was quality and authentic.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
basically the way that Pokemon talk is they basically just say their name over and over again.
So what if I just walked around and be like, Patrick? Patrick!
No,
Patrick,
you're not
Patrick,
You're not
Patrick.
doing it right. Yeah, it has to be like, sometimes you just say part of your name. It's like Patrick, Pat, Rick, Patrick, Rick.
Does each Pokemon have their own language? What does that mean?
Yes, exactly. That's what it is. They all speak their name. Well, not all of them actually do that, but some of them grunt and make weird noises. A few of the Pokemon have figured out how to use the English language or Japanese
They
language.
figured it out.
It's kind of
They've
like
figured it out
Cracked the
somehow.
code.
But most of the time, they just speak their name over and over in different ways to make it,
it's kind of like talking to a
inflections.
Wookiee. It's the same idea. People somehow understand them.
Except Chewbacca's name's not.
How do they know what his name is?
Because he says it all the time. Don't you hear him saying it?
Nope.
Yeah, that's Wookiee. Or wait, that's Chewbacca.
Sounds like that sounds exactly like
I took
Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Wookiee Class 101. I know how to speak it.
If you
All
play
right.
it backwards, it's Chewbacca.
All right, so let's steer this right back onto the rails.
And Chewbacca's in Super Smash Brothers, right?
No.
It is.
No,
It is
he's
Oh,
not.
Ultimate.
man.
That would be awesome if he were.
Any
in.
other Star Wars characters in this?
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to do the news here.
I don't know. I don't know anything about this game. I'm just trying to figure it
Yeah.
out.
It's just you, Mark. So
Okay, so yeah, those are
we,
two new.
we support you.
Oh, I appreciate that so much. So yeah, those are two new characters that will be at launch in the game that you can unlock as you play the game.
Ken and Chewbacca. Right. Got it.
Negative,
No,
not Chewbacca.
Paramore.
Paramore.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Okay.
No, it's Incineroar. Come on.
Yes.
No,
Incineroar.
if Dwayne The Rock Johnson was in this, I'd get it.
Yep, I'd buy it right now. Off of Mark.
You done? You done?
Yeah, you're losing him with a sales pitch, Mark.
No, you keep interrupting my sales pitch. Come on. But in anyways, so and they also announced that as a bonus DLC character, y'all know the piranha plant that's in the Super Mario Brothers games, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well he is going to be a DLC playable character.
Man, I can't wait to lay down some money for that.
What?
Yeah.
Make it Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah. Just can't you
Kevin
Photoshop his
Hart
head?
could get him.
Photoshop his head on that plant. It'll be perfect.
No, it won't. But anyway, so and also there's going to be several different amiibo figures that they're going to be releasing. I'm not going to list those. You can look those up.
Do you need amiibos to play this game?
You don't need them, but a lot of people, they collect amiibo and stuff like that. And plus they do special things if you use them on the Switch. They unlock all sorts of different little things if you want to do that. But no, you don't need them to play. But they also introduced that they're going to have an actual story mode for their game. That's basically, I believe it's called
Thanos snapping his finger and a bunch of people die. Or a bunch
Wait,
of
Thanos
characters.
is in this game?
See, what's...
Can you also play as Captain Hook?
No, you can't.
Oh, man. We should make a game called whatever it is with all these characters.
That sounds magical. Hey, have you played that game, whatever it is, with all these characters? It's my favorite new game.
I would buy it just on that name alone.
Yes, it'll be magical.
I'm
But Mark,
so sorry
am I
to-
remembering? Sorry, you 3 Nintendo fans listening. So, anyways, when I have a serious question in regards to this single player Nintendo campaign on Smash Brothers. But I saw something where like these bright yellow lights were going through the characters and like dissolving them or making them evil or something was happening. Is that the single player campaign you're talking about?
Yes. So basically, it's a campaign mode called World of Light. I believe that's what it's called. Something of Light. But anyway, unfortunately, it's not listed in the article that I have here. But yeah, it's basically a mode where all of the Super Smash Brothers characters, there's this like some sort of evil entity thing that has basically obliterated all the characters and taken their spirits and put them into like these evil forms. And the only survivor of this attack is Kirby. And so it's Kirby's job to sort of stop this, onslaught of evil characters from doing whatever. But what's interesting about that is Masahiro Sakurai, the guy that does the Smash Brothers games, he actually is the creator of Kirby. So it's kind of interesting that his creation is the main character of the story mode. But in any case, so that's going to be in the game at launch. And so that's awesome. They kind of skipped the story mode last Smash Brothers game. And also they have a sort of secondary mechanic they're called spirits. And these things serve as power-ups for your character's main fighter. There's a huge number of those spirits from all sorts of different video game franchises, and you can equip these spirits, and they basically aid you in battle. And
Did
of course,
you say they aid you?
Aid you?
Like
What
make
does
you
that
like
mean?
an old man, like geriatric Mario,
By the way,
geriatric
like an old
Yoshi?
plant, like a dead plant, or what is that?
Just hunch over.
You become a spirit?
They all of a sudden your superpower is getting out your AARP card, and you're like, "Hey, I'm gonna use this to beat you."
Everybody's got a walker going after each other.
Complete with tennis balls.
That's DLC.
Oh yeah, you got to pay extra for that.
I feel like we should give Marc money for this. We have just blasted his whole thing.
yeah, I demand reparations. Seriously.
I will get on and donate as soon as you start streaming.
That's
Awesome.
right. Check is in the mail.
Love it.
You should probably not mail checks in the mail anymore.
I haven't used a check in 10 years.
That's good. That's good to know.
Good man.
But in any case,
I think it's fine if you pre-sign the check. Then it's fine.
and of course, there is a DLC coming. There are several different sets. They'll cost $5.99 individually, or you can buy the season pass for $24.99, and that is it. So I'm excited personally for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It makes me sad that I no longer have my Switch and want to get another one. We can obviously tell what you guys think about it. So that's the end of my news.
We're glad you're here to represent Nintendo and video games. Speaking of video games, we had a question from Derek Broughton, our buddy, down in Broughtonville, Indiana. No, I have no idea where you live, Derek, but we love you.
Somewhere near where I work, because he works in the same building.
Fair enough. Sounds like a plan. So, Derek Broughton from Cincinnati then. He wanted to know, what are your guys' thoughts on this past weekend's BlizzCon 2018? Ready, set, go.
See,
Somebody other than me go.
Yay, new characters.
there's new characters in Overwatch. They had some World of Warcraft stuff going on, maybe a Diablo mobile game. I don't know. I'm not big on the BlizzCon, but the only thing that I really got out of that is there's a new character in Overwatch. So I love Overwatch, and I'm excited for this new character. She's a long range. She's got like a rifle. She's got a shotgun. She's got dynamite. She's got a robot alongside of her.
The robot's name is Bob.
Bob, yeah. I don't know what the acronym is for, but that's
that name
awesome.
is profound.
Apparently, she is somebody sort of related to, in some way, I don't know, former girlfriend or what, of McCree. So,
yeah, she's like has cowboy, or she's a cowgirl, and because McCree's the only cowboy in the game, which felt out of place a little bit, but now they have a cowgirl. I don't know if they're from the same group or sisters, cousins, friends, whatever. But yeah, that's actually pretty cool that we're getting another character. Cool. And then the Bob looks actually a lot like Zenyatta. Mark, I don't know if you saw Bob, but the way he looks, I mean, he's a robot and he's got a mustache.
Yep.
He's good.
Can't go wrong with robots and mustaches.
Yeah,
for sure.
But yeah, that's the only thing I got out of BlizzCon.
I saw that there was some backlash coming out of BlizzCon because
controversy.
Yeah, definitely controversy because people were all excited because they thought that they were going to get a Diablo 4 announcement, but instead they got a mobile game.
Yeah, they did. Diablo Immortal. It will live forever on your phone only.
And they felt kind of gypped about that because there was all this hype being built, and they found out it was a mobile game when it wasn't actually like a full-fledged. I'm sure they're making Diablo 4, but they just weren't ready to talk about it at that point. So yeah, that's all I really know about BlizzCon.
Yeah, I have no additional information to share because what Mark said is exactly the only thing I had heard about. I had not heard about Bob the mustached robot. That's actually pretty cool, and I would have been even more excited to hear about that. So, Ronnie, how about you, buddy? Why don't you give us a little update?
I'm stretching.
Give us a little update on your. We're ready for your Superman review, right?
I didn't watch it again.
Dude.
But I mean,
that is
I
the third time. People who are listening, they don't even remember why you're watching this, and I don't even think you remember why you're watching this.
No, I don't.
Banned.
You know that? No, that's too easy. Too easy.
Yeah, then I'll never watch.
You need a punishment. So you either shave your head, or you stream a game of our choice for an hour or two, give or take.
Don't have to like buy equipment to stream.
No, you don't.
No,
you don't.
You already have the equipment.
You already have it. Yep.
You have your.
Well, I live in a house. I live in a house with no electronics at all.
That is a lie.
That's probably not going to work out.
How are you doing this right now?
Yeah, exactly. Are you in a?
I am on a.
Are you in a van?
A three-way phone call right now.
Are you in a van down by the river? I don't think so. You're in your
fake
house
news.
with electronics.
The people listening can't see me. They don't know. They don't know that it's not true.
You stink of lies.
All right. So what I did do, I have a busy week.
Oh,
here
just stop, you little rogue.
I feel like you guys are going to accept it. All right. No, I didn't. I haven't followed it around. It just keeps getting stuck in the same spool of wires, and I should probably block it off, but I haven't. Just get more upset every time. Okay, so what really happened in my week is I played in a couple volleyball tournaments over the weekend, and I actually lost all of them, didn't win anything.
That was a letdown.
Wow. Are you going to rename the volleyball team to Andrew Luck's Book Club?
Actually, the volleyball team, so you come up with your own team name for the tournaments, and the girl that was playing with us in front of us, they asked, what's your team name? And she just said, make Ronnie do it. And they just wrote that down as the team name.
Make Ronnie do it. That is hilarious. Oh, man.
Yeah, so they were really fun, but no, we didn't win.
On the left side of the court, make Ronnie do it.
Yes.
And you're like, make Ronnie do it.
They do.
What?
They do announce everything over the intercom. So
nice.
It's pretty funny.
That's hilarious.
So what I will tell you what consumed basically all of my time this week, and also the time that I would normally have slept, is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yes.
Nice.
This is my first gaming update ever.
And probably your last.
That's a fair possibility.
At least,
when they come out with another Grand Theft Auto, I'm definitely going to do it.
Oh,
I'm definitely buying that one too.
3 years
episode
later.
330.
Yes.
You heard it here first, folks.
So I will say I've heard a lot of stuff. So it's actually really Patrick's fault, honestly, because I was watching his 24-hour stream and watching him play Red Dead Redemption, and that day I'm like, yep, I'm getting it on the way home.
Nice.
And I've been playing it ever since. That game is really unbelievable.
So what's made you kind of get into it so much, do you think, Ronnie? What is it? What's the element of it, or what you're doing that you've just connected with?
I think it's the openness of the game. Really, you can go and follow the storyline, but you can really go in any single direction you want. I think that's why I played Grand Theft Auto for so long. There was just so much stuff to do in the game. But I did play the first one, and I remember really liking it. So I don't know when the first one came out. It was forever ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah. I remember playing the first one, and I just thought it was really cool, like the open world concept. You're a cowboy, outlaw, will do whatever you want to do. So I think that definitely is what kind of drew me in. Plus, I mean, I was sitting at work, with Patrick's stream on in the background, I'm watching all this, man, I need to get out of here. I'm going to tell him I'm sick. I need to get him and play this game because it looked awesome.
So what is the craziest thing you've done in the game so far?
Well, I over the past couple of days, I've been playing a lot, and I've got myself in a real jam because I have like a top bounty in every single town. So I am just being hunted by wolves out there every time I'm riding by myself.
Ronnie the Renegade.
It's hard not to run up like a bounty in the game, really. There's just so much stuff, like,
so many bad things you can do.
Yeah, I mean, like, for example, there's this one guy that I just stopped, and I was telling Patrick about this. Like, you get all these random missions as you're riding, like, just down the trail, and you can veer off or whatever. And this guy's over there, you're shooting, like cans and bottles, and he challenges you for, like, $10. Which in the game, $10 is not a lot, but, not like a light bet. And then, so he beat me the first time, and then he gives you the option to double or nothing. Like, oh, okay, fine. And he beats me again. I was like, man, this guy. So I killed him. I remember thinking to myself, I wonder if I'm going to get the full 20 back after I kill him. And totally got it all back.
That's awesome.
Jeez.
There's no consequences for losing in this game. No, but I think you run up basically a whole bounty. So I was online literally looking like, all right, I don't have this much money to pay this bounty down because it's a ridiculous amount. Like it's like $300 in every town. And I just found out basically you can just go in town, make a little ruckus, and surrender. They take all your money that you have, but they also reduce your bounty. So theoretically, you could just go from town to town and do that when you don't have any money.
So you can just walk in with $5 or a penny, and they'll be like, "You're forgiven."
I haven't figured out if you can store money in another place other than on you, because that would be awesome. Like, maybe like if you had like a storage chest or something, you don't have anything like that from what I found. So basically the money you have on you. Next time you go broke, just go ahead and turn yourself in.
Pro tip.
There you go.
Pro
Dude,
tip from Ronnie Johannes.
I've seen some hilarious stuff from Red Dead. Like I watched this one video on Reddit where dude had like taken like an hour and a half to track down this like super rare horse. And it's like this beautiful white horse. And he's just staring at it. Like, it's just standing right in front of him majestically. And he's just staring at it for a moment. He's like, I finally found it. And all of a sudden, dude just gets blindsided by a moose and dies.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, man. That's hilarious. It sounds like a good mixture of Far Cry and The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. It's
just Grand Theft Auto in the West.
Yeah.
Like the Old West. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, so I was talking to a couple girls at work. They're asking me what I did over the weekend, and I said I played Red Dead Redemption 2. And they asked, what is that? And I was like, well, it's Grand Theft Auto with horses. And they're like, okay, I got it. I understand what it is now.
That easy to understand.
They're probably walking away seeing thinking like horses riding around like on the map of Grand Theft Auto. There's no cars, everybody rides horses, but it's the same.
Grand Theft Auto with horses from the makers of Grand Theft Auto.
I love these names.
But basically, that's all I did over the whole week is play this game. And then obviously those volleyball tournaments, I took a mild break to do that. But it's pretty much taken even my sleep time. You fall into the classic gaming trap where you're up till, you're like, oh man, it's 2 a.m. I can't believe I'm up this late. And then you're like, well, I'm already going to be tired. So I might as well stay up for a little while longer. And then you just talk yourself into it all night.
That's about right.
You feel like you've only been playing for 30 minutes, and you look up at the clock. Oh, it's been 3 hours. Oh, okay.
Those are the exact
heck? I have
reason.
done nothing in this game.
Let's do some more nothing.
No, you didn't even complete one mission. So 3 hours passed.
Oh, jeez. It's ridiculous.
But Night Guy does not care about Morning Guy, so Night Guy always wins.
The battle of the guys.
Morning Guy hates Night Guy.
But that is all I have for the week. And this week, Superman for sure.
Liar.
We'll see.
So what are we up to now? Like a 15% chance? I think you go up 5 percentage points every week.
I did say last week that I was going to be 5% better. So, yeah, I may have to go up another 5 to get to that spot. But
so you're saying there's a chance?
For now, I'm not promising the extra 5% here. I'm just saying when I decide to use an extra 5%.
Nice.
Anyways, carry on.
Carrying on. All right.
Ronnie, how's your week
Moving
been?
Oh, it's been absolutely phenomenal. I played this new game called Red Dead Redemption.
Tell me you watched Superman. This is your last chance, for real.
I'm just reading what's on the teleprompter here.
I watched
so
Superman.
Lucas.
All right. So I wanted to start by giving I won't say a retraction, but I wanted to make a reference to last week's show when we talked about the PS1 Classic. After listening to our podcast from last week, I like to listen. Whoa. I like to listen to it from time to time to prevent such as me having to clear my throat over and over again. But as much as I do not like to listen to my voice, because I think it sounds weird and strange, I do like to listen to our podcast just to kind of get ideas and give feedback. I think we all do that. And so I was listening to that, listening to us talking about the PS1 Classic. And then also I listened to Married to the Games over the weekend. Shout out Married to the Games. Woo! MTTG. Full life.
Podcast.
And, they were much more positive on the PS1 Classic. And, I was just realizing that kind of last week, I think I was reacting more than responding to the PS1 Classic. I heard things like Mr. Driller, and I don't even remember some of the other games. And I just was focused so much on the things I didn't know that I wasn't focusing enough on the good things that were in it. I feel like I just needed to say that I'm a little more even keel, and I feel much more balanced, and that I think I will buy it eventually. But I just wanted to say my piece. I felt like I was a little negative last week, so I wanted to make it a little more balanced, as it were.
All
right. So the other thing I wanted to mention is that I had you kind of alluded to this last week, Pat. I had a second poll. Last week I did a poll on the PS1 Classic, and I also did a week-long poll, which I don't think I'm going to do a week-long poll ever again. You really only need a poll for like 12 hours, because then after that it gets lost in the plethora of things on the news feed. So, but I did a poll last week about the whole socks with sandals concept. And I gave...
No.
Yes, I did.
Socks with sandals or socks with thong sandals?
I just put socks.
Flip-flops.
I put socks with sandals. So
okay.
I said, so my poll went like this. So finish this sentence. Sock with sandals is, I think it should have been socks with sandals are. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Socks with sandals are, the first one was for the bold and the beautiful. The second was acceptable at home. The third was a fashion travesty. And then the fourth one was a sin punishable by death. What do you guys think won?
Sin punishable by death.
A fashion travesty.
Fashion travesty. Absolutely.
All right. Majority have it. The winner by 45%, almost 12, 13 votes, is a fashion travesty. Apparently, socks versus sandals. Socks with sandals is a fashion travesty. All I have to say is, if it's a fashion travesty, then who cares what you do in your house? Am I right? So it should be acceptable at home, because fashion travesty only matters when you're out in public.
Did no one vote for the at home?
They did. I mean, we got 14%, so like 3 people.
No, I wouldn't.
Was that you and your son?
Oh no,
He's got his whole family to vote.
My son does not have a Twitter account. Thank you very much. Nor does my son. I was the only one, and I voted for the Bold and the Beautiful. Thank you very much. So we had 14% for Bold and the Beautiful, 14% for Acceptable at Home, and a close second place, a sin punishable by death. So Ronnie, you were in second place with your guess. It wasn't really surprising. Yes. I was hoping maybe that out of the woodwork, some of the other socks and sandal people would come out and, unite with me, but they're just too scared. You guys are just too mean.
I do appreciate the second place. However, there's only 3 of us, and the other 2 chose the right answer. So second place and also last.
If you're not first, you're last.
That's true. You're the first loser.
We are giving out the participation awards here.
Yeah, we are. I'm the last loser, because I really thought my homies would back me up. All right, but moving on. That was my other poll from last week. So let's get a little more personal. First of all, this past week I finished subbing. As you guys know, I was substitute teaching at my wife's school, and it ended really well because in my last class of the day, guys started asking me about video games. And I was like, okay, now we're talking.
Yeah.
One guy's like, so what's your favorite game? And I started naming some, and at one point I said Uncharted 4. He's like, Uncharted 4 is awesome. I'm like, whoa, easy there, buddy. It's okay. It's a fun video game. And then another guy's like, so what do you think of this Elder Scrolls 6 game? And I'm like,
what?
Once you graduate from high school in 3 years, maybe you'll play it in college. And what else? Another guy was, he wasn't telling me about a game. He said one of his favorite games is, and then he stopped. And he's like, you probably won't know this game. And I'm like, go ahead and try me. He's like, Team Fortress 2. And I'm like, I know that game, made by Valve, and one of the first hero shooters back in the day. He's like, how did you know that? He looked at me like I was, Captain Video Games. It was pretty funny.
Because you are Captain Video Games.
Because
Captain Video Games!
Speaking of video games, still continuing with that trend, I was a proud gaming dad this week because while we were playing some good old-fashioned Nintendo, my daughter looked at me and was like, Dad, I want to be a gamer someday.
Wow. Did your heart just like sink like, oh my gosh, this is like the best day of my life?
It grew 3 sizes and a tear went down my face. And then I went to Mindy and I was like, Mindy, listen to what Tasha just said. And I was like, Tasha, tell mommy what you said. And she just looked at me like, I don't remember. I know. Wait, and then I was like, I want to be, and she's like, I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. And she started going into the Pokemon theme song, and I'm like, what are you doing? You're ruining this moment. And then she finally said it, I want to be a gamer someday, and my wife just rolled her eyes and left the room. It was good times.
Get her a Twitch channel. Get her all set up.
I know, right?
Get her Fortnite. You're all set.
She'll be twitching all over the place. She already wants to stream when I'm streaming.
Twitch it up.
Twitch it up. So the other thing that we didn't mention in regards to video gaming and Halloween, we had our first Good Morning Guys community game night last week on Halloween night,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We played Friday the 13th, and it was a good time. Pat had unlimited lives during that night for some reason.
I have no idea how.
Lim,
I did.
I learned that Lim is one of the biggest screamers ever. He is such a screamer. He screamed the whole time. He was just like, ah! Even when it wasn't him, he was screaming. I'm like, oh my gosh, you really get into this stuff. It was so funny. Marc was a professional hide and seeker. He made it. I think he was one of the few that made it to the last few minutes of a round, and then of course he died. But still, he was professional at hiding and seeking. Just
by hiding in the closet.
And then I was probably the most boring. Once I figured out how to crouch and not be heard, I just crouched and they walk so slowly in that game when you crouch. And so my stream was just of me crouching and walking super slow in my jorts with my flannel shirt on. It was ridiculously boring. And then Jonathan, a.k.a. Sheldor, he was the only veteran in the group, and he joined us for the stream also. It was a good time. We had lots of fun. And of course, I failed to capture everyone's party chat, which was not a surprise since I've done that before. And I don't think Twitch streaming likes me. And so we'll be trying that again another time in the future for sure.
I still can't get that Chad Kensington's face out of my mind.
Oh, man. Yeah. In this game, Friday the 13th, one of the characters is called Chad Kensington, and he constantly has this look of a mixture of sheer horror and then some kind of I don't even know. It's like the creepiest face you've ever seen.
The graphics are
trying to think
horrible.
what it reminded me of. Yeah, the graphics are horrible, and his face is so awful. It looks so contorted and creepy.
It looks so not human.
There are no words to express. But between that and Extra Life, I think it's reinvigorated my desire to stream on a regular basis. I know it's done that for Pat too, even Marc. And so another poll that I threw up during this week was for the PS Plus games. I had put up a poll to see if anybody would be interested in joining me in playing through one of the PS Plus games on my stream to watch or chat or whatever. And so I put up the 4 options, and the winner was Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition. I don't know if you guys have ever played that. It's an older game that was on Xbox 360 and PS3. It's like a first-person shooter, mix of Borderlands and Gears of War. It's a pretty fun game. I started the stream today and had a few people on there. Met a few new people and got the game started. So it was a good time.
Nice.
On top of this, I've also been continuing my classic Nintendo challenge. I played not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 games this week, my friends.
Nice.
Yeah, I was a Nintendo playing machine. I beat 3 of them. So as you guys know from last week, I was playing through Super Mario Brothers. I played every single level, no warp zones, and I even made some crazy discoveries along the way. Did you guys know that Bowser throws hammers and in later levels of Super Mario Brothers? Did you guys know that?
No, I actually think I did
not know that.
Yeah. So, congrats, Ronnie. You still haven't made up for not watching Superman, but congrats on knowing that.
No points awarded to you.
The other thing I discovered was that if you throw your fireballs at Bowser, he eventually will poof and turn into a squid and then fall into the lava. Did you guys know that?
I did know that.
Not.
Okay.
So nice. I think the reason behind that is because, like, you know how every time you go into a castle and then you end up beating Bowser, you end up finding a toad and he's like, "Oh, sorry, but our princess is in another castle." Well, it's because basically these are imposter castles and these are imposters pretending to be Bowser, but that's not actually Bowser. The final level Bowser is the actual Bowser. So I think that's what's going on there.
Interesting. Okay, cool. I didn't know that at all. The more you know. So then I beat that game, and I discovered it has New Game Plus. I had no idea. When you finally reach Princess Toadstool, she's like, "Hey, your quest is over. Press B to start over." And it's like, what? What do you mean start over? I don't want to find you again. So I pressed B just to see what would happen, and it was New Game Plus, except instead of the Goombas, the little mushroom guys, it's all a bunch of those Buzzy Beetle, those little enemies that can't be hurt by the fireballs.
Oh my
and
gosh.
So I was quickly like, well, I completed that playthrough, moving on.
and we're done.
And we're done. So I moved on to the Donkey Kong saga, the OG Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr., which pretty much is 3 or 4 stages on repeat over and over and over and over again. And it's very much a pure arcade game that really is never ending until it glitches out after so many playing like a bajillion years. I did not play the bajillion years, but I did play all the numbered levels of Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. It was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I had never gotten past stage 1 of Donkey Kong, and I had never played Donkey Kong Jr. before. And what's interesting to me that when you take both of those games together, it makes quite the saga. Like you have the first game where you're Mario and you're trying to rescue someone by the name of Pauline, which I had never heard of before. I read the manual, of course, because you get that with the game, a digital manual. You can read the little information, and you're trying to rescue Pauline. And so you defeat Donkey Kong, and you make him fall from the building. And then in Donkey Kong Jr., Mario was not satisfied with capturing or getting Pauline back. Instead, he caged up Donkey Kong and made him do slave labor. And so Donkey Kong Jr. is trying to help him. And for whatever reason, Mario has Donkey Kong in the jungle. And so you're going through the jungle trying to save your dad. And in the end, you save your dad and you kill Mario. He falls to his death, and a little halo goes above his head. And that is the Donkey Kong saga. It's good times. And in playing that game, I really thought about how, they could make a movie about this. Speaking of movies, that brings us to the topic of today's show. Are you guys ready?
And you have become a ninja at those transitions.
I know, right? All right. Well, if you guys are ready, vámonos, muchachos. All right. So our topic of the week is movies. We love them. I'm pretty sure every single human being on this earth loves movies. And if you don't believe me, look at the growing numbers of Netflix, illegally downloaded movies. I mean, movies are everywhere. They're awesome. We love movies. So tonight we're going to be talking about movies from our childhood past. We're going to be talking about our favorite movies. We're going to even be sharing some of our closest friends, their favorite movies. So before we get started, I just wanted to make sure that everybody is ready to share about some of their favorite movies. We need to make sure to share from different angles, make sure to kind of share some of your thought processes. I thought we could do like a round robin. Instead of, one person sharing like all their favorites, we can just kind of go one by one and share each of our favorites, share some feedback, opinions with each other. But remember, there are no wrong answers or wrong movies unless your name rhymes with Bat or Batrick. Just so you know, there are no wrong answers for anyone except that person. Also, feel free, if you have lots and lots of movies, you can save those honorable mentions till after we've mentioned our favorites and all that stuff. Okay? Sound good?
Sounds great.
Good.
All right. Well, let's start out with our childhood favorite movies. And to warm us up, would you guys like to hear some of the Discord members, our best friends, some of their childhood favorites?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go.
Why not? So, Mr. Jared Orr, our Akron buddy, he had this to share. He said, the original Star Wars trilogy is definitely my favorite childhood movie and movies. When I was little, my dad got the trilogy on VHS for his 40th birthday, and I watched them with my dad as my first introduction to Star Wars and instantly fell in love. I proceeded to watch them over and over again, as kids usually do. Those movies became my impromptu babysitter also. If my mom wanted me out of her hair, she would just pop in Star Wars and little Jared would be fully occupied for hours. Nice.
That's a good choice. That's an excellent choice.
That's an excellent choice. I should be taking tips from your mom, Jared, because I just let my kids watch Netflix and they just choose whatever. I should have stuck to the good stuff, the classics, and not let them watch Paw Patrol over and over and over again. Goodness gracious, how many stinking things can get in trouble for these dumb dogs to rescue. Anyway, on to other things. MikeBC, Mike from Quest for Pixels, he said, growing up, our Boy Scout troop was constantly getting together at this boy's house or that boy's house to watch Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh, another good choice.
Yes. It got to the point where we could recite the whole movie from memory. One year at camp, we had to come up with original skits to see what troop would eat first at the mess hall. The adults in charge of the campgrounds would choose who had the best skit that night, and they would line up first. Our troop one night decided to base it off the movie. My brother and I were the leaders of our troop that year at camp, and we had everyone bring their scout handbooks to dinner that night. We were already in 2 lines with me as senior patrol leader and him as assistant senior patrol leader at the head of each line. Right before the skit, we moved to the back, and the lines widened to create a gap. In the cadence of the Pia Jesus Domine Dona es Requiem, we instead said, we want to eat first today. Thwack! With the books. This is all we really pray. Thwack! As my brother and I came up the middle aisle to take our place at the front of the lines, and yes, we ate first that night.
Nice.
You can't go wrong with
Good work.
the Holy Grail.
Good work.
That's awesome.
What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
Is that African or European?
I don't know.
Oh, man. So good. Matt, also known as ArcticWarlocks, He said, "It's got to be Better Off Dead. Please, someone on this podcast must have seen it, right? If not, give it a view before recording. You need to check it out. I think it's on that popular website where people go to see stuff. I ran out of time to get all the details, but check this out." And he proceeded to show us the Better Off Dead trailer. So did anybody know that movie?
I did. Yeah, I know. I don't know anything about that movie, but I watched the trailer for it, and I couldn't figure out if he died, and then he didn't know he was dead, or he had superpowers after he died. I don't know. It was John Cusack. I have no idea what it was.
It was neither one of those things. But
well,
yeah,
I saw him like he had a noose on his neck.
Yeah,
and then
so
it looked like he was about to die, and I assumed he just died, and then but he never died. It was so confusing.
So for those that don't know, Better Off Dead.
You just have to watch the movie.
Yeah, you're not allowed to talk about such things, Ronnie. You've yet to watch Superman, buddy. So keep it to yourself.
Banned.
But yeah, Better Off Dead is a 1985 movie. It's I love the 80s movies about teenagers because every single one of those actors, they're all adults and they're all pretending to be teenagers, and they don't look anything like teenagers. They look like middle-aged teenagers. But the movie's pretty much about a teenager that he feels like he's worthless, and throughout the whole movie, like his parents ignore him. He gets made fun of at school. His brother is like half his age and a lot cooler than him. And so in the trailer, he's like looking for different ways to kill himself. And the one you saw, Patrick, is where he's trying to hang himself and his mom's vacuuming, and she accidentally opens the door on him, and he starts hanging himself for real. I don't think he actually hangs himself, and I don't think he's dead during the movie. I watched the movie a long time ago, so I vaguely remembered it, but, to each their own.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like my thing at all.
Yeah, well, you'll have that. So the last childhood movie comes from Tim Paullin himself, and he said, "Blazing Saddles."
Nice.
Back before everyone got offended by everything, Mel Brooks made fun of everyone, and then he gave us the Blazing Saddles Netflix link. Yeah. So, any Blazing Saddles fan? I can't imagine watching Blazing Saddles as a child and understanding half of what was going on.
Exactly. I watched it maybe when I was like 15, and I mean that's 20 years ago. If I watched it now, I probably would get way more out of it, understand more about it than I did when I was 15.
For sure.
Yeah, I do want to go back and watch that one.
For sure. All right, guys. So, how about you? Let's hear about your childhood movies. What you got? What's your favorite? Didn't you guys have a favorite, like the best of the best?
It's Home Alone.
Yeah.
Home Alone.
I like it.
Yes, that movie is so good. Did you not leave that movie just wanting your parents to leave you behind when they went on vacation?
Set all those traps.
Yeah, no doubt.
Buy pizza, eat all the ice cream I wanted, just run around screaming.
That movie was so classic.
You get one of those cool video recorders too.
Oh yeah,
yes, Talk Boy.
And the Talk Boy.
Yeah,
for sure.
Call back.
So, what other
Anybody
movies?
else?
Pat, you don't have any more?
Any other?
That's it? You came with one?
Oh, no.
We're doing round robin, so let's share the love. We're just giving our number one for now, and then we can save our one or two, Ronnie, one or two honorable mentions.
I copied your question right onto my word sheet here. So it literally in parentheses still says only one or two. That's exactly what I didn't do though.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
It's that renegade Ronnie again.
Yeah. What do you got, Ronnie? Throw some childhood movies at us.
The Goonies.
Oh,
nice.
The Goonies.
Do the truffle shuffle.
Yes. I wrote that one down and then I erased it. No offense to Goonies. It's a great movie. It's a classic. For sure.
Yeah, it is.
I at least once a week, I don't know why, but at least once a week I quote that little Asian girl that gets her bike stolen. My bike, my bike, my bike, my bike. I quote that one all the time for some reason. I don't know why. There's always a context in which somebody is stealing something and my kids are complaining about something and I just start doing that and they look at me like.
There's always you see people stealing stuff all the time? Where you have to say my bike all the time?
Patrick,
This is why you call the
this
cops,
is Brazil.
Lucas.
This is Rio. This is Brazil.
Everybody owns everything.
That is correct.
This is mine.
No, but good choice, man. Goonies is a good one. How about you, Mark?
Okay, so I guess for my first one, it's a toss-up between a couple, but I'll go with this one as my number one, I guess. The 1989 Batman movie.
All right.
That is something that I had the VHS copy of that when I was a kid, and I would play that movie all the time.
Nice.
Absolutely love that movie. Being the obviously hardcore superhero fan I am.
Yeah. How old were you when you first watched that?
I had to have been 4 or 5.
Wow, that would have given me nightmares for sure.
Wow, yeah, for real.
I did not. I was like, when I think of childhood movie, Batman's not the first one I think of. But I was a little older than you, so.
And that led me to be the person I am today.
All right. Batman it is. Michael Keaton. Well, that is a classic. But man, that Tim Burton, he sure knows how to give kids nightmares.
Yeah. That one wasn't as twisted as like Batman Returns was. That one was just straight up weird.
Yeah, that one was pretty twisted. Well, my childhood movie is, I don't know if it's a real popular choice, but for me, I have a very emotional connection to it. And it's All Dogs Go to Heaven. A classic cartoon.
That's a good one.
And the reason I chose that one as my favorite movie, I don't know if it's one that I would watch over and over again, or like I actually haven't watched it in a long time. I'm sure if I turned it on for my kids, and we haven't watched it yet because of the emotional connection, I don't want my kids to break down and cry like I did when I first watched All Dogs Go to Heaven. But it might not be as cool as I thought it was back in the day. But that was that's my all-time favorite, All Dogs Go to Heaven. My all-time favorite childhood movie. So. All right.
I've never seen it.
Never seen it?
No.
You should definitely watch it first. Pretty much it's about a dog that dies, and he resists. He actually is destined to go to hell, but he makes a deal to try to help or save someone. And then it's about him, like, as a ghost trying to help this little girl because she's the only one who could see him. And then it's about him like sacrificing and eventually,
is this
going to heaven.
A child
Spoilers.
Film or a horror film?
I know, right?
This is a child film.
This is a child
this
film.
would totally not fly today.
No, definitely not. But after I watched it, I just went up to my mom and I was like, "Why did he have to die, Mom?" And I just cried. And it was the first movie that really elicited like emotions from me. So that's why it's my favorite childhood movie. Bambi didn't do it for me. I was like, yeah, sure, the mom died. She was boring. Move on.
Oh my god.
Okay, I wasn't like that for real. I'm just joking. But for whatever reason, it never got any emotion from me. But All Dogs Go to Heaven, totally. So what do you guys, what are your honorable mentions for childhood movies? What do you got?
Aladdin.
Ooh,
nice.
good one.
That's a good pick. I like it.
I still watch Aladdin now. I mean, everything about it, the songs, the stories. Yes. I'm really excited about the new Aladdin live action movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
I think it's next year.
I think it's going to be real good. And I believe in Will Smith, even though I don't think he's going to try to top Robin Williams. I think he's just going to be a different genie. I think he's going to do a good job.
He's got to take a different approach.
If they follow the same formula that they did with Beauty and the Beast, that live action remake, which was really good.
It was really good.
If they do the same thing with Aladdin, then I'm sure it's going to be good. I mean, it's Disney, so they're going to put a lot of money behind it.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. So it's me next, right? Or is it you, Ronnie?
But you can go.
I was kind of thinking I was in the 2-hole, but I don't know now.
Nope. Go for it. Go for it, Ronnie. You first, my friend.
All right. Well, here's what happened to me. I started looking up movies from when I was a child, like just lists of movies, and I realized that the 90s were like the best decade for movies ever.
They were so magical.
So even though The Goonies was in 1985, that's the 80s got lucky there.
So got lucky with Goonies.
Don't be a hater.
My honorable
80s.
mention.
Yeah.
I mean, I came from the 80s, so I can't really hate them too much.
Mm-hmm.
True that.
And they might have the best music of all time to dance to.
Agreed.
Also.
Seconded.
So my honorable mentions are The Mighty Ducks,
Oh, yeah.
Small Soldiers,
Oh wow.
The Mask, Rookie of the Year, Hook, Free Willy, Jumanji, Space Jam, Dumb and Dumber, Jurassic Park, The Sandlot, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, The Movie, Jack Frost, Big Daddy, The Flintstones Movie, Major Payne, Forrest Gump, Independence Day, and Office Space.
Okay, half of those are not childhood movies. You were way too young to watch.
Oh, God.
Those were all in the 90s.
Okay, but we didn't say best 90s movie. We said best childhood movies. Were you still a child when you watched those?
19 honorable mentions.
Depends on what you consider child. I mean,
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, if you're Jewish, you're a child until you're like 30 years old, and then you're adult. So I guess that works. Fair enough.
Hey, I watched Batman when I was 5, so I think it's a possibility that he could watch those movies when he was a kid.
I guess, but that's gonna give you some partial scarring, partial mental.
So you
scarring.
watched all those movies when you were a kid. You can't watch one when you're an adult.
yeah, I mean, my adult life has been way different.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Life gets in the way.
Well, I was surprised that nobody brought up my honorable mentions. I had 2. I had the OG Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, the first live action.
Nice.
Yeah,
That
was
was
a good
magical. I remember sharing a movie theater seat with my best friend and neighbor, Matt Lynn. We watched that movie. It was magical. And the other one is an old Disney movie from the 80s called Flight of the Navigator.
Oh, yes. Flight of the Navigator.
Navigator.
Isn't that Pee Wee Herman? Wasn't he the
get
voice?
around, I get around, yeah. I think he was.
If
it wasn't, he was doing his best impersonation. Congratulations, Marc. The phone goes off.
Another $5 in the bucket, please.
Yeah.
It's just full of Marc's money so far.
Yeah, it is.
See, I changed my alarms on my phone so that wouldn't happen, but we're recording earlier now.
Yeah, blame the time change. Blame Brazil.
Total backfire.
I do blame the time change. Thanks a lot, Brazil.
Ruined everything. But yeah, the Flight of the Navigator was just classic. It was amazing. Keeping with the childhood theme, that maybe this applies more to our childhood than current times. Quest for Pixels, MikeBC from the Discord, he wanted to know, do you guys still have a drive-in movie theater where you live, and do you use them? Here in Vegas, there's one drive-in theater, and they used to be, okay, sorry, I'm reading it as it is. They used to be $5.50 for 2 movies, but now it's $7, and most of them play alone. So it's not near as good a deal anymore so we don't go as much anymore, since there's a $2 theater in town too. Yes, it used to be $1. Don't even get me started.
No, I think we do have a drive-in somewhere around here, but I don't use them only because the theaters that are around here, I mean, they have upgraded all of their sound, so it just sounds so good in the theater, whereas the speakers in my car aren't. So I don't enjoy going to drive-ins.
I think there's a drive-in theater somewhere around here, but I have not gone to one. It's just not something I'm like super interested in going to.
We actually have a movie theater, probably like 25 minute or drive-in, like 25 minutes away from the house.
I was like, most of us have a movie theater nearby, Ronnie. Thanks.
3 movie theaters within that radius. No, I have one pretty close to me, and I remember my grandma and grandpa taking me there like when I was a little kid. So like I have like kind of like drive-in like nostalgia about it, you know.
For sure.
It's just I don't know. It was like for us when we went. I haven't gone. I don't think since I haven't gone since then. I don't think, but no, just that you're sitting in the car, like or like my grandpa's truck, like we're sitting in the back of it. It was just like really cool, like when we were little kids. Like it was a really fun experience. But I have not been as an adult.
The last time I went to a drive-in theater, my daughter was about 5 months old, middle of 2010, summer of 2010. And we watched, I think, Shrek Forever After and a superhero movie of some kind. And pretty much we just put my daughter to sleep in the car. And then we sat outside and watched the movie. I'm also like Patrick. The sound quality for drive-in theaters just kills me. I know that you can use your radio to 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 transmit the sound of the movie, but it's just not the same sitting in the car looking through the glass. You need to be outside and just kind of taking it all in. I grew up doing going to the drive-in though. It's so good, or I almost said drive-through. Going to the drive-in, and it was such a magical time, and definitely has a lot of nostalgia. Folks, this just in, we have breaking news. Marc did not share his honorable mentions, so we're going to give him that moment to do that now. Ready?
I appreciate you swinging back around to me.
Yeah, just for you, buddy. What were your honorable mentions? We don't want to leave anybody hanging. So,
well,
go ahead.
I'm gonna, since I'm allowed to do mentions, I'm going to technically throw in 3 movies that are part of a trilogy that are among my favorites, and that is the Back to the Future trilogy.
Yes.
Yeah, I absolutely loved those movies when I was a kid, and still love them to this day. I used to pretend, when I was a kid, that my mom's car was the DeLorean, and anytime she needed to go get gas, we were filling it with plutonium. And I just love the whole idea of time travel in general, and so that movie just so good, and the whole trilogy was great. Now some like one is better than the other. Like obviously the first one is the best. I for a long time I liked the second one. After that, or it actually used to be my favorite for some reason, just because of the future element going into the future. But
I can see that.
I think 3 is now a little bit higher than 2, in my opinion. But yeah, absolutely love those movies.
Cool.
Yeah, those are actually 3 of my favorite movies of all time. The Back to the Future trilogy. There was, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, me and my buddy Chris went to a theater and watched Back to the Future 1 with a live orchestra.
What?
Yes.
Wow,
it was
so
actually
cool.
One of the coolest experiences to watch through that. I mean, we had like, I don't know, back row all the way up top seats. But regardless, I mean, we were in that theater listening to live music from the movie. That was really cool.
That is cool.
Nice.
They had DeLoreans all outside. You can get in DeLoreans. They had like costumes you could put on, the Marty McFly jacket. You could put on the Doc Brown outfit and all that stuff, and get pictures. And it was pretty sweet. And I think Alan Silvestri, he was the composer.
Gosh, yeah.
And he was there doing it all.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Really cool.
Was that back in on Future Day when they did the 2015 thing? Was it like back then?
I think it was 2015. Yeah.
Nice.
Maybe I'll throw up a picture on the old Twitter of me and Chris and next to a DeLorean with our Back to the Future clothes on. That's pretty cool.
That is awesome.
Well, very cool. Well, since Patrick, you mentioned those being your favorite movie of all times, I think that would transition us into talking about that. What are your guys' favorite movies of all time? Do you guys have like a top 3 that you can name off? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I'll start us off. I think one of my favorite movies for the past while has been Goodfellas. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
All right.
Yes.
Man, I love that movie. Like just movies about like gangsters and mobsters like that. I think that's really cool. Remember the Titans?
Oh man,
Good one.
Man, that's a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
I've used that. I use that in my English classes here in Brazil a lot, and not just to teach them English, but also to teach them about civil rights and racism, and like just about the American side of that they don't experience here in Brazil as much. So that's a great movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I've watched that movie now
sure.
at least 8 or 9 times, and it's still every time.
Every
So
time
good.
I stop on that if I see it on TV.
Yeah.
So, my other ones include all the Lethal Weapon movies.
Oh man,
Best.
Nice.
Those were the
I definitely
best,
watched
man.
those movies.
Mel
at
Gibson,
2.
Danny Glover.
Those were actually childhood movies for me, so I have to confess that I watched those at
I love those
much
movies,
too
man.
early an age. I watched Lethal Weapon movies for sure.
Man, they are incredible. I even liked 4. Like some people were like, the 4 wasn't as good, but man, every single one of them I liked.
Yeah,
That's just like your classic like action packed film. Like you got your rogue cop,
Yeah.
like taking down this kingpin.
Yeah, it had a good mix of action and comedy with Riggs and I'm getting too old for this stuff.
Murtaugh, man.
Murtaugh. Yeah, that's the TBS, the cable TV version.
Yeah.
I'm getting too old for this stuff. His voice changes. It's so classic, 90s.
I did have Star Wars down, but also one movie that I've always really loved, and it was because I was into wrestling when I was a little kid. Have you guys ever seen Ready to Rumble?
Oh yes,
Yeah, I love that movie.
I've never watched
Still
it. I've
awesome.
heard about it.
It is awesome. What is it? David Arquette and Scott. What's his last name? Scott Caan.
Scott Conn.
Conn. Yeah. Man, it's a good one. That's one you should check out.
Nice.
I'll watch that when you watch Superman.
Ooh.
This week then.
Yeah, right. You're so funny, Ronnie.
15% chance.
You and your jokes.
But those were my top movies. Who's next?
Ace Ventura.
Oh my
Nice.
gosh.
Yes.
Ace Ventura, man.
Oh, Ace
That's
Ventura.
I've watched
Yes.
that movie probably over 100 times. I can watch, and I watch it like it's the first time I've ever watched
Oh
it.
my gosh.
I still laugh at every single scene. It's just I could recite the entire movie. It starts off just absolutely ridiculous, and it just gets awesome
Oh,
as you
man.
get further into the movie. Yeah, Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, like all the Jim Carrey movies back in the heyday. I mean, those are awesome. But one of the ones that I would watch all the time is National Treasure. Have you seen that one?
Oh, yeah.
With Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Oh,
I do love those
I
movies.
do
They're
too.
Awesome.
I really like the conspiracy movies, like what they
Yeah.
do in National Treasure. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, the music,
Yeah.
the soundtrack in that movie really makes that movie. But I love the clue leads to another clue leads to another clue that to finally get to that treasure. The second one wasn't as good, but it's still the same thing. Nice soundtrack and going from one clue to another
Right.
to unravel the final destination. So yeah, Ace Ventura, National Treasure for me.
Cool.
Nice. All right, for me, I'm gonna go from 3 to 1, so it's in this order. Number 3 would probably be Inception. I absolutely love that movie.
That's a good one.
Number 2 is The Empire Strikes Back. That movie is pivotal for so many reasons. It has probably one of the biggest plot twists in cinema history, which is freaking amazing.
Spoilers.
Come on, man.
Spoilers. Come on. Was it like 30 years later? Spoilers.
No, I feel
Or
like
maybe more
there's a
than that.
statute of limitations on that, and we're well past that.
No, haven't you seen those videos of kids watching that for the first time
And they're like,
and seeing that plot twist? Like, what?
my mind's blown.
Yep, it's kind of crazy.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I actually got to do that. Well, obviously, my wife knew about that, the whole plot twist thing, but my wife had never actually seen the original Star Wars trilogy, and so when we started dating, we got to watch 4, 5, and 6 together.
Nice.
So that
It was
awesome.
like, did you do it like a test? Like you gave her a quiz afterwards, and if you don't pass this, we can't date anymore?
No, we didn't go that far. But I was like, no, you need to watch these. And then she got
Or
mad.
else.
Or else. You must watch
And then,
this.
when she told her parents, she was like, yeah, I finally watched Star Wars. She's like, they're like, you haven't seen Star Wars? And she's like, this is your fault. You wouldn't let me watch them.
Wow. That's a
But
travesty.
yeah, it is. So Empire Strikes Back is my number 2, and number 1 is another Christopher Nolan movie,
The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight. Absolutely.
Called it. Nice.
That's a good one.
That is.
It's a really
That's a
good
really good one.
To
You
me,
can't go
that
wrong with
is one of the best. In fact, like towards the top. You can argue like Avengers and stuff like that. I would argue that is one of the greatest superhero films ever made. They just did such a great job with that. Obviously, Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker was just incredible. it's just so well done on every level. And I just remember going to see it in the theater and just being like on the edge of my seat at certain parts. And being the Batman fan that I am, it made my heart happy. And so that's a movie you can always throw on and just be super happy to watch it. So.
And we have to admit that Heath Ledger, well, his Joker, the best scene, I don't know, I would say even maybe the best scene for a villain is got to be his magic trick. When he walks up and he's like, let me show you a magic trick. And then he just puts that pen down and then puts that guy's head.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
It's Scar.
Man, I laughed so hard when I watched that. And then I felt a little bad because I'm like, wow, he just killed that guy. And I laughed like really
guy
hard
now
just
has a
now.
pencil straight through his head.
Yeah, straight through his brain.
And I thought my jokes were bad.
Yeah. Good choices, man. Well, my three, I'm going to be honest, guys. I had a really hard time with this. A very, very difficult time. And I think it was because I just love movies. And so, like, I was thinking of, the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I thought of course, Star Wars movies. I thought of all kinds of movies. So I kind of gave myself little parameters. So I got rid of any sequels. And I said, if it can't stand alone, I'm not going to mention it in my favorite 3 movies. So the 3 movies I chose are all original, movies that can stand on their own, because I kind of just set up this little parameter in my head like, well, if you don't have the context of the other movies, then it doesn't make sense, which I'm not saying if anybody chose, you guys chose sequels and that's fine. But I just had to do it because then I was going to mention like 20 movies as my favorite. But I chose one movie as The Matrix. That movie blew my mind, and just the whole like being in a computer and him discovering that he's the one and all that stuff. Just the whole movie is just, and it stands alone. Like you can just finish at that movie and say, he became the one and he won, and that's the end.
Nothing ever happened after that.
And some people would actually prefer to do that. The other movie that is one of my favorites of all time is Avatar, which is for some people a movie that they love to hate because it's like, been given all these awards and people are like, it's Pocahontas on another planet, which it's true. It's like Dances with Wolves or Pocahontas. Speaking of,
it's a Ferngully remake.
Dances with Wolves is also a good movie. That's a classic from the 90s. But Avatar, I just really enjoy the movie. It was the first like real good HD movie that I owned and got, played on my first HD television. And then the third movie that I just adore and is kind of like my expression of my favorite genre of movies, if you can call it a genre, is Inside Out by Pixar.
Nice.
Oh, man.
I love Inside Out. As a dad.
That's a good one.
As a dad, as a person who like really cares about understanding people's emotions and understanding my emotions and just everything that goes into the human mind. Like I just love the human mind. I'm fascinated by it. So Inside Out is one of my favorites. So
nice.
Those are my
awesome.
Those are my top ones. Do you guys have any quick honorable mentions you want to mention?
Die Hard.
Die Hard, best Christmas movie.
Welcome to the party, pal.
That and Elf. Elf is my favorite Christmas movie to watch with my family. Die Hard I cannot yet watch with my family, but Elf is definitely one of my honorable mentions.
I actually like all the Santa Claus movies. I think those are awesome.
I'll give you 1 and 2, but 3 with Jack Frost. I can't get behind that one. But definitely 1 and 2.
I was
1 and 2
okay
are
with
classic.
that one.
Yeah, I was okay with the 2.
Fair enough. To each their own. I have to say a newer one that I cannot yet say because it hasn't been long enough is one of my favorite movies of all times, but Coco. I really, really enjoy the movie Coco. And with that, my honorable mentions are all the Pixar movies.
Nice.
If I can give that. It's just...
No, you can't.
Especially WALL-E.
That's
WALL-E.
bottom 5.
Bottom 5. Spoilers. Geez. Any other honorable mentions you guys want to mention?
Oh, gosh.
If you have to think about it, then that's enough.
Robin Hood, Men in Tights.
Oh my gosh. We're men in tights. Oh man. That movie's hilarious.
Friends, rodents, quadrupeds.
That one, I'm
Lend me
definitely...
your ears.
When my kids are old enough, I'm definitely going to first watch Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, which that's another one that's really good. A good movie.
That is a good
I'm
one.
going to watch that with my kids, and then the next day we're going to watch Men in Tights, just so they get the context of like how it compares to that movie and everything. That's like a great combo.
It's like, oh, a black sheriff? Yeah. It worked in Blazing Saddles.
And then my kids will be like, can we watch Blazing Saddles? I'll be like,
No.
no.
Negative.
You may not, sir and madam. Speaking of favorites, continuing the favorite discussion, Duncan Rogers wanted to know, who's your guys' favorite movie sidekick in any movie?
Sidekick.
Where a sidekick exists.
Like Garth from Wayne's World?
Yeah,
Is he a
yes.
sidekick?
That is a sidekick. Is that your
Pretty
final
good
answer?
one.
It's my final answer. Lock
That's
it
a
in.
good choice. Walk it in, Dana Carvey. That was a good one.
I'm looking at my list of movies that I had already said here, trying to come up
Let's
with a
see.
sidekick.
You could do
because I can
Jenny.
not remember.
Is Jenny a
I'm
sidekick?
gonna go with from the movie Hook, his sidekick Shmi.
Nice.
Okay. It's a good one.
Who's Shmee? Shmee's me.
Of course, he's...
That baseball scene was like the best.
Oh, yeah. Where they're playing baseball.
Yeah, it was.
For sure. The baseball scene where they're playing baseball. Man, I got to think about what I'm saying before I say it.
Dynamite drop in, Monty.
That's right. I do my best. That's why they pay me the big bucks.
We didn't even say Major League. This is
Major
what
League,
happens.
Major
Oh,
League
Major
too.
League.
Man, those are
I
so
totally forgot
good.
about that.
So good.
Sure. I'm going to go with favorite sidekick. I don't know who you would say is the sidekick, but have you guys watched Shanghai Noon or Shanghai Nights with Owen Wilson?
I've seen Shanghai Noon.
And man, those movies are hilarious. But Jackie Chan, I would say, well, between Jackie Chan, Owen Wilson, they're both funny, but those are really funny. And then maybe a slightly related one, kind of related one, is Rush Hour with Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Those are good. They're good sidekicks of each other. So, how about, we forgot Batman and Robin.
Is Robin really one of the best sidekicks? I mean,
I'm just kidding. I would not even dare suggest that as a real answer.
Unfortunately, Robin has not been, in terms of the movies, Robin has not been done well at all. I did not I liked it back then, but I'm not a fan of Chris O'Donnell's Robin, especially not in Batman and Robin. But I will say it's technically not a movie, but for anybody who's watching the DC show Titans, the guy who plays Robin on that show, he's doing a great job. I'm really enjoying his take on him. So, but yeah, Robin hasn't been done very well.
Mark, did you have a sidekick that you liked?
Oh gosh, favorite sidekick. Donkey.
Oh man, that is a fantastic answer, Donkey.
What about
Donkey
cakes?
from
Cakes
Shrek.
and layers.
Yeah, and in the morning I'm making waffles. Yeah, those are classics. So after mentioning all these movies, really quick if you can, we need to answer super listener Chad at Chad Fackler 1's question for the Good Morning Guys. He said, so if you could only have, say, 3 movies to watch for the next 3 years, what would they be? And you can watch these 3 movies as much as you like, but no other movies can be watched. You have to answer fast. So go. What is it? 3 movies. Go.
Ace Ventura, Independence Day, and How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Wow.
Look at you. You're covering all the bases.
Out of left field.
Comedy, romance, action.
Yeah, you gotta
Well
switch
done.
it up.
You do got to switch it up.
I would randomly select 3 of the 4 Lethal Weapon movies.
Nice.
Just roll the die, right? See what happens.
I would go with Dark Knight, Back to the Future, the first one, and I'll go with the original Star Wars instead of Empire.
As in, all right, so New Hope.
New Hope, yep.
Phantom Menace. Got it.
I'm gonna. Phantom Menace, yes, the original, the first one.
No, you chose it, sir. Sorry.
Yay, pod racing!
Pod racing! We both did a similar quote. I think I screwed it up. So thanks for doing it right. My 3 movies, just to name some more movies that I really like that I could probably watch over and over again because they make me laugh. Have you guys ever seen Spaceballs?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I totally watch. I'm going to go 80s. So my 3 movies are going to be Spaceballs, Goonies. Ronnie mentioned that earlier, but I love Goonies. And then, shoot, I'm blanking on the third one. A good 80s movie. Oh, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh,
There
good
you
one.
go.
Come on,
That's
right?
A good
Yeah,
one.
that's a good
I
one.
love Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Speaking of sidekicks, that dude. What's his friend's name?
Oh, Cameron.
I'll go.
Oh, this
Ronnie,
is Mr.
don't mock me.
This is Mr. McAllister.
The father.
The father. Yeah, her father. Oh, man. I totally just brought that one out of left field. I totally had forgotten about that movie until just this second. So, yeah, those 3
Awesome.
80s movies.
Great.
So,
That
do you
last one
guys...
is a Home Alone reference, by the way.
For sure. Is there any room for negativity? Do you guys want to mention any bottom 3 movies?
I have one.
All right, let's hear it.
The worst movie
Of all
I've ever
time.
seen. Yep. It's called The Notebook.
Oh, The Notebook.
I totally thought you were going to say Wally.
Oh, come on.
All right, I already said
Missed
that's number
opportunity.
2. But number one is
2.
number 1 worst all time is The Notebook.
Really?
It's just it hits me so hard. I hate the part where what's her name, the main
Rachel
character.
McAdams?
No, when she's older and she has Alzheimer's and she remembers her husband.
It's
and then
Rachel
all of a
McAdams.
sudden-
It's they put her in an old lady suit. They
Ah,
aged her
mhm.
with the Super Smash Brother light. They shined that Super Smash Brother light on her, and she aged.
But yeah, when she remembers him as they're dancing and then totally forgets who he is, I hate that part, and I don't ever want to watch that movie again.
Wow.
Yeah, that
Only because my family history has Alzheimer's, so
Okay.
and
That makes
it kind of
sense.
hits home with me, and I didn't like that.
See, that's the only
So-
part. I was talking to my wife about The Notebook earlier today, and that's the only aspect of the movie that I really appreciate is the say the old people part of it, but the part when they're older, like just the different parts of like their developing relationship and her remembering and forgetting, like when they're laying in bed together and they both die together, and it's just so sweet and so nice.
And sad.
Yeah, it's so sad. Oh my gosh,
I mean, it is, but they're together.
worst movie of all time.
But I can understand that.
Yeah.
Worst movie ever.
You know, it makes me a little sad too because this is a story for another show, but the second time I proposed to my wife, we were...
Well, that is.
Whoa,
a
this
story.
is
we do not have time for me to give that story. We'll get
okay.
Next week.
next week, folks. No, but the second time I proposed for my wife, we had just watched The Notebook, and then I kind of like said some things and nice words, and I proposed to her. But
And then the third time you proposed to your wife.
yes, and then the third time we watched Die Hard. It was after we watched Die Hard. It was awesome.
And she finally said yes.
Yes,
She was like, yippee-ki-yay!
Mamacita.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yep. All right. We got any other bottom 3? Some bottom movies, the worst movies.
I just went with any scary movie at all.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't like any scary movies.
No,
The idea of me like paying to get scared that doesn't even make any sense.
the worst use of your money.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Fair enough.
About you, Mark?
Yeah, I think the worst movie that it's the one movie that I walked out on. That is the one movie I can remember that I actually walked out on
Really?
because I was not a fan.
What was it?
Is the remake, the remake of The Hills Have Eyes, and
Never watched
it
it.
was
Yikes.
so stupid and boring to me. And there's like this scene where this guy is like in an outhouse and he's going to use the bathroom, and for some reason or other his head explodes, and the thing looks like a watermelon exploding. Like it was so terribly done, and we were just so not enthused by the movie at all that we just walked out.
Whoa, walking out on a movie.
That's hardcore. Well, two of my bottom movies, I almost walked out of both of them, but I just can't. Once I paid the money, I was like, no, I'm sticking through this, and I am seeing it through. And it was Spider-Man 3.
Ooh, okay.
I cannot stand Spider-Man 3.
That's a bad movie.
That is so bad. Like, I just sat there looking around at people while they were watching it, and then I'm just like, are you guys watching the same movie as me? When that dance scene when he's all goth and emo and he's so dancing, bad. It is so awful. So terrible. Ugh, it just gives me, like, goosebumps thinking about it. And the other one is another sequel that the original one, I mean, like Spider-Man 3, I love Spider-Man 1 and 2 with Tobey Maguire. Like, they're not, like, now they're not my favorite Spider-Man movies, but they're still so good. And so Spider-Man 3 just broke my heart. The other one is Grown Ups 2. I don't know if you guys watched the Grown Ups movie. I loved Grown Ups 1. Grown Ups 1 was good. Classic. 2? No. Where they're firing the arrows in the air and trying to dodge them and, like, all that time at camp and stuff. But Grown Ups 2 was so bad. I was just sitting there with my wife, and I'm like, how is this a sequel to one of my favorite comedies? So those are two of my least favorite movies. Along these same lines, maybe, our very own Melanie Novosel, she wanted to know, cheesiest movie you've ever seen, and go.
There's a toss-up between two of these movies. I mean, you could argue a lot of, and I'm a fan of musicals. I like musicals, but Grease is kind of cheesy. That, and on the other spectrum, being a huge Batman fan, probably one of the, and I didn't even think about this, as one of the worst movies ever. Batman and Robin.
Oh yeah.
Hands down, absolutely horrible.
Terrible.
All the lines in that movie are just crap. It was just one big toy commercial, and it was just so terribly done and very cheesy, and just way too, like, Joel Schumacher. Like Batman Forever, yeah, it had a little bit of the neon lights and kind of stuff, and it was okay, but Batman and Robin just sucked a giant goose egg.
Tell us how you really feel, Mark.
Oh, I will.
I can't think of any cheesy movies, but one of the cheesiest lines in any movie I have ever seen was in the movie Summer Catch. I don't know if you guys seen that one. It's with Freddie Prinze.
Seen that.
It's one Freddie Prinze Jr. He's a pitcher, and he's trying to make it to the major leagues. And spoilers, at the end of the movie, he gets a minor league contract, and his girlfriend at the time is Jessica Biel. And after he gets that contract, Jessica Biel looks at Freddie Prinze Jr., she smiles and just says, "Let's be together."
What? Let's be together.
It was so weird and out of place. I'm like, what?
Now that you've got your minor minor league contract, let's be together.
Let's be together.
It's the cheesiest line in any movie I've ever seen.
Jeez, that's hilarious.
See, I always love, like, cheesy movies, like even like cheesy comedy movies. Like, I would probably go with like the cheesiest movie I've ever seen is probably Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh yeah, that is super cheesy.
But still, I
it's
laugh
so
at
good.
it every time I watch
it's so good, but
it's still
cheesy.
funny, but it is cheesiest. It's the cheesiest movie.
But I think it's because it's such a dry cheesy, if that even makes, if that can be a thing. It's so dry.
A very dry
cheesy.
Cheese.
It's like, your mom went to college. Tina, eat your dang food. Gosh.
Jeez. Do you drink 2% milk because you think you're fat? Because you could totally drink whole milk.
Does it have sharp talons?
I've got nunchuck skills.
Napoleon, you're just jealous because I've got Yolanda and you don't have anything.
That's such a good impression.
You're just jealous because I chat with babes online all day.
Lucas sounded just like him.
So,
You should totally close out the podcast
just
like
close
that.
it out like that. Well, guys, that's all we have today. So I think we're gonna move on from there. Anyways, do you guys have any for our last little area of movies? Did you guys have any overrated or underrated movies you wanted to share?
Yeah, I have an underrated one for sure. Waterworld.
Wait, did you say underrated or overrated? Sorry, I wasn't listening.
It was
Underrated Waterworld. Okay.
The one where Kevin Costner drinks his own pee.
The one where Kevin Costner's like a half fish, half human being.
Okay, we'll go with that.
I will say I didn't answer the cheesy question because I couldn't think of anything. I agreed with all you guys, but I will say in Waterworld, the villain, I can't remember his name. He was also cheesy movie is Super Mario Brothers, the video game movie. Oh my gosh, that is like one cheesy thing after another.
No,
and that is like that should have been on the bottom 3 also.
Goomba.
But that had lots of cheesy lines in it also.
Yes.
But going back to Waterworld, what Ronnie was talking about, the villain in that, he's pretty cheesy. He's like, no,
that's true.
Rah! He's like such a cliche villain. But I could see where Waterworld could be underrated. It's a good flick. I enjoyed it when I watched it 1.5 times
Nice.
on Showtime.
It's a long movie.
Yeah, for sure.
So, go ahead, Patrick.
Crossing
one of the under.
Sorry,
We're good at that. We're real good at that. What did you go?
I was like, how long can we hold it? I couldn't do it anymore. All right, go ahead, Patrick.
No, one of the underrated movies, and one of my favorite movies, it was a surprise to me, was Secret Window. I don't know if you've guys seen that one. It's with Johnny Depp.
I saw that a long time ago.
It's just like, it's one of those movies where there's no like character development into the beginning before they get into the actual story. I mean, it just starts off with Johnny Depp answering the door and this guy just standing there. He's like, "You stole my story," and then getting into the movie. Love that movie.
Oh yeah,
Nice. I think the most underrated, at least the most underrated Disney movie is the movie Treasure Planet. I actually really liked that movie when it came out.
that's a good one.
And I don't think it did as well for Disney, but I enjoyed that. I just liked the whole like Treasure Island with like a lot of futuristic kind of stuff in it.
Nice.
Cool. Well, based off of our past podcast, my initial reaction for underrated would definitely be WALL-E or Ratatouille. Thanks to Patrick. But
No, they're not underrated.
They
should not
are
even be. They're overrated.
No, but my
Fake
answer
news.
was actually 90s Godzilla with Matthew Broderick.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think that movie gets a lot of hate for not portraying Godzilla in the right way, or I think it does have a couple cheesy lines in it. But I just thought that was a fun movie. And like when they close out the movie with all the eggs in Madison Square Garden, spoilers, and they blow it up with a bunch of bombs, spoilers. I just really enjoyed that movie. The other
I
honorable
respect your
mention.
opinion.
What's that?
Go. Never mind. Keep going.
Okay. Moving on. No, but the other thing in general, I would just say all animated kids movies, Pixar movies in general are underrated by most adults, whether they be parents or single adults. And I just think a lot of animated movies nowadays are just made for all ages, and they're good. And my overrated movie is definitely the Twilight series.
Yes. It
So,
is so overrated.
Overrated. And the actress that plays, I don't even care to remember her name, who plays the leading girl in Twilight, she's got to be top 5 worst actress ever.
Kristen Stewart, right?
Kristen Stewart. Her, like, she's like her response to anything when she's mad is just like this face. Like, she's just, yeah. Twilight movies, overrated. And also Batman versus Superman.
Banned.
Yep.
I had to slip that one in.
First of all, and I'm just gonna leave this at this.
Have
you seen
this at this?
Have you seen? Yeah, I'm gonna leave this at this. I'm going to drop this point.
Drop it.
There we go. Have you seen the extended edition, the director's cut?
Unfortunately, yes.
Dang it!
It's too long. It's too long.
It's too much.
It
It's
is
like
not-
yeah.
the extended
really
edition
not
has
that long.
extended dead air. Like it's more breathing. It's like, what can we do to make this better? Let's have Bruce Wayne breathe more and not say anything for
I'm gonna disagree with
situational.
that.
I'm gonna disagree. That's
Agree
fine.
to disagree.
You're allowed to. That's why it's my overrated movie and not yours. So,
Okay.
any more overrated, underrated movies? Last chance. All right. Well, if not, then since we are all experts on movies at this point, we're going to finish with our good old friend without a D, our good old friend, Bernabe Butters, at Dante's Belmont on Twitter. He wanted to know this, or he shared this situation with us and wanted to know our response. You get the chance to produce a movie. The studio wants to experiment a little and wants you to cross genre a little with a superhero in a horror movie, Superman versus Kryptonite Zombies, for example, or a video game in a rom-com, Peach leaves Mario for Luigi. What do you do, and who do you cast?
Okay, so Nightmare on Elm Street, but instead of Freddy Krueger, it's Wolverine.
Ooh.
Nice. Okay.
All right.
But I don't know who I would cast as
I like that.
Wolverine to make it a horror, like maybe that guy from No Country for Old Men, the main character.
He'd be more like
How about The Rock?
Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Here we
The
go.
Rock.
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
He could play any part, man.
Yeah, I don't know who you would cast as Wolverine. I just can't see anyone other than Hugh Jackman.
I know it's tough,
But you don't want to make him a villain. He's Hugh Jackman.
but it's a horror movie, right?
No, I know.
Why
Yeah,
can't-
it's a
why
horror
can't-
movie.
why
So,
can't-
but like, is he the villain? Like Wolverine's Freddy Krueger, right? So it's
Yeah,
Nightmare
right,
on Elm
yeah.
Street. Now wait, is Wolverine wearing the striped shirt, pajamas, and the hat and stuff?
No, he's Wolverine.
Oh, okay. Because that would be really funny to see Wolverine wearing the Freddy Krueger outfit. That would be absolutely awful looking. There's got to be like a WWE wrestler that could pull off a Wolverine look or something. Like somebody who's like not, really well known, kind of a no name.
Just somebody famous?
Diamond Dallas Page.
Maybe a giant Wolverine.
South High Five.
I'm gonna agree with you because I don't have any other answers for that.
I don't know.
So yours is.
I'm gonna go.
That's a good one. So go ahead, Ronnie. What's yours?
I'm gonna go football reference and say Clay Matthews, Wolverine. A pretty good one.
Clay Matthews. Okay. Wait,
I
are
can see
we
it.
are we changing the question now to
No.
He'd be better
who,
Thor.
casting
who's,
Wolverine?
who's casting Wolverine in the Elm Street movie, the new Elm Street movie? Ronnie, did you have a response to Barnaby's?
I gotta be honest. I don't even remember what the question.
I had a feeling you did. So
We have gone down a
It's
tunnel.
a superhero horror
we've gone down
crossover.
so do you want to do a superhero in a horror movie crossover or a video game as a rom-com?
Video game is a rom-com. I remember anything scary is definitely out for me.
Okay. So what's your video game as a rom-com? What's it going to be?
I would have to say. Let me think of this huge bank of video games. And probably go with Grand Theft Auto, some type of version of that.
Okay.
As a rom-com.
Yep.
Yes.
It's a rom-com.
That's
It would
exactly
be
what
like
I'm going with.
to make it even more fun. It would be like a sequel to the Ballad of Gay Tony, one of the Grand Theft Auto DLCs.
Premiering on
Yeah.
Hallmark this weekend.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto. Battle of Gay Tony.
Gay Tony's down on his luck.
Oh, jeez. Mark, what do you got?
Gosh. I would definitely go with the superhero horror movie reference. I feel like you could do so much and go like full in with anything like Batman. Especially like if you went full in with like like an adaptation of the Killing Joke, which is a classic storyline from Batman's sort of collection of comics. I believe that was written by Alan Moore, who also did Watchmen. But that's very like horror suspense kind of thing. So you could go that way, and anything involving the Joker you could make horror. So yeah,
you put Willem Dafoe as Joker. That's a
yes, I would do that.
Okay. Nice. Well, to even it out, go ahead. Did you have more?
I don't know who I would cast as Batman though. Maybe
Christopher Walken. I am Batman. Okay.
Alfred, get the Batsuit ready.
I feel like you could cast The Rock in this also.
Oh, jeez.
Be a great Batman.
The Rock love. For me, I'm going to just even it out and go with a video game and a rom-com. And I'm going to go with... I think I'm just going to go with what I recently played, Donkey Kong. But instead of Pauline, going with Mario, she instead falls in love with Donkey Kong. And, it's like cartoony, so it's not going to...
That sounds like a Pixar movie right there.
They're not going to take it too far. She just, it's like that Stockholm Syndrome. Like, she's just captured by him for so long, and it's about them trying to figure out, like, how to continue their relationship. That's all I got. I really couldn't think of anything else.
All right.
So, that concludes our movie discussion. That concludes our very interesting movies. I think we learned a good lesson in that last question that I should never be allowed to produce a movie, and that
yeah, me neither.
If we're ever in doubt, we should just cast The Rock. That's what we learned in that. So, as we wrap things up, guys, and as we get to the end of our time together, do you guys have any last-minute inspirational thoughts, music to share, random dad jokes, questions? What you got for us to close things out?
I do happen to have some additions to add to the Good Morning Guys morning playlist, which, if you didn't know, you can search out on Spotify. It is a playlist that I curate, add to every week. And so I have 3 additions this week. So the first song is a song called "The Walker" by Fitz and the Tantrums, and it's just a fun little song, kind of up tempo song. Another song is, and I'm not even gonna attempt to say this guy's actual name. It's Hawaiian, and so it's like really long, but a lot of people call him Iz. But I recommend you look it up and look up his actual name because it's kind of long. But many of you have heard this song. I'm sure you guys have probably heard it in movies. It's his version of "Somewhere Over the Rainbow."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good
mixed
one.
with, I believe, "What a Wonderful World" is in there too. Yeah, such a great chill song to listen to. And finally, it's the song "Blue Ridge Mountains" from a band called Fleet Foxes. They're just like a super chill, folky kind of band. So yeah, I will add those to the playlist.
Mark, I have to say, I'm a little surprised you missed a good opportunity to put in one of my favorite movie songs from a soundtrack for Armageddon. Don't wanna miss a thing.
Absolutely not. No.
What?
No, thank you.
What?
Come on.
No.
Dude, that is a classic movie song.
I'm going to add it to the playlist.
Yes, do it.
Well, you can't, because I'm the only one who can.
Go right under the curator's nose and add that song.
He's got the keys.
You should post a YouTube video on the Facebook page.
I will shame you all day if you do that.
Uh-oh. Look out for them public shamings
Whoa.
by the curator. That sounds like a villain name. You could definitely be a villain. The
I am
curator.
the curator.
Marc the curator. I'm the Marc curator.
I could be a curator. But that's it for me.
Anybody else?
No, I'm good.
Cool. Well, the only
Close it out.
last thing I wanted to mention is that it's quite obvious that we love stories, and that we love movies. And I think it should be noted that I think that's a part of being human, is not loving movies but loving stories. Stories are powerful. They inspire us. I always love to hear a story, to learn a new story. In a lot of ways, I think some of the best movies that I've ever seen are movies that when I walk out of the movie, or when I turn the movie off or turn off my TV, like I want to live in that world, or I want to be in that character's shoes, or when I'm inspired or I connect emotionally with a character. And I think the reason we like that is because we love stories. Something that's very interesting to think about, that I was reflecting on when I was thinking about movies, thinking about stories, is that stories have such an impact on us. And it's interesting to think about, in taking this a little on the Christian side of things. As a Christian, when I watch a movie, I always try to pay attention to the message of the movie, what it's trying to say about God, trying to say about humans, humanity, that kind of thing. And I was thinking about the other day how Jesus, when he was on this earth and he was teaching people, like a third of what he had to say was stories, were parables. And it's just really cool that Jesus, if he had been alive in our time, I think he would have had a top 10, a top 5. He would have had movies that he liked and that he would have shared. And, so I think it's really cool to think about not just cool movies, but think about how powerful stories are. And I think to really connect it to our podcast, to really connect it to what we do, it's one of the reasons we do this podcast is to not just share our stories, but to learn about your stories, to share God's story, to connect with each other, and really to just really discover God's truth, to discover about each other's lives, to remember that we're not alone. And I think that's one of the things that makes movies so special too, is that we sometimes are reminded that we're not alone. So just wanted to mention that, just that quick little thought about the power of movies and stories. I think it's definitely in one that is pertinent to this discussion. So
True that.
Yeah.
True that. So, well, that's all for this good morning. We look forward to connecting with all you guys on Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and Discord. And if not, then please join us again starting next Thursday morning or afternoon on podcast services around the globe, and YouTube, of course. And if you get a chance, please feel free to rate us on iTunes. Right, Ronnie?
Right.
Do you think there's a good reason to rate us on iTunes?
So we can get 15 stars?
Yeah. I mean, I think we should maybe shoot higher than 15 stars. I think maybe 25 at least.
There you go. Ronnie's issuing the challenge. We would love to get 25 stars by next week. That would be
Boom.
capital A amazing.
How many of us is there? We could get 20 right here.
We could. We could do it right here, right now. 5 stars. All right.
We need one more.
All right, my podcasting brothers, listeners, friends, and family. Go get your good morning this week. May God bless you and guide your lives as you live, work, and game. Hasta luego. Hasta la pasta and hasta la vida. Vida. Hasta la vista, baby.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Mark? All right.
We got Mark.
1, 2, 3. Mark. We might have lost Mark, folks. Houston,
this is
we
fantastic.
have a problem. He's just staring at us. I think
Oh, no.
He's frozen. He's
Where's he
staring
got-
at us
where
like a
is he?
statue right now.
He's icing us. We're sorry, Mark, about the Nintendo stuff. We really didn't mean it. We were just
Come
having some
back,
fun.
Mark!
Mark,
It's
return
because-
to us.
We didn't allow him to do his news update, and he bolted on us.
Apparently, Mark has no opinion about socks with sandals.
Hopefully,
All right.
hopefully
well,
we've got him contractually locked down, so we can't actually do this again.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to take this out of his pay just a little bit, a small percentage for each minute
That's probably right.
that he is not with us.
Are we just supposed to improv during this session here?
Yeah, we haven't lost a man
yeah.
during the podcast, have we? Before, it's the first time.
You guys use chopsticks? Like a Chinese restaurant?
I
Oh
do.
man,
just
that was
straight
so
up go with the-
difficult to use. I have no idea how to use it. That's why they invented the fork.
the first 10 minutes.
What happened?
He said that his hangout froze. He said, "Just keep going."
Okay. All right.
So
Are we going back to the chopsticks?
I'm not sure.
I think that's all we got when we get
That's-
frozen up
that's all
like
we
this.
got. So, Mark, how are you?
Wonderful. How are you doing?
He's
hi.
back.
Great.
Hi, Mark.
So, Mark, why don't you share with us your feelings? Socks versus sandals.
Socks
For the
versus
bold and
sandals,
beautiful,
or
acceptable at home. I think he's frozen again.
No, he's moving.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there he is.
He's
He's
here.
faking me out. A fashion travesty or sin punishable by death? Go.